Hey, what's good, YouTube? So today I'm bringing you my virtual world deck profile. Every now and then I do get tired of being a meta slave and I do go and play decks that I used to play. This is actually the first deck that I did get into coming back into the game a couple years ago for realizing that Yu-Gi-Oh just wasn't the same as when I was younger and ended up taking a break again until recently coming back a few months ago. Though I do feel even in today's meta, this deck does create a decent end board, especially with the ability to create Dragoon in this deck, as well as having a walking Macrocosmos with Virtual World Shen. Cards like that, especially with having Yugioh Detonator at 1 now, I feel the meta is open for rogue decks like Virtual World to kind of be competitive once again. With that in mind, let's just go straight into the deck profile. So we have the best card in the deck, Virtual World Lulu. All the Virtual World cards are pretty much work as Foolish Burials. If you have a spell Virtual World, you can target it and then send a trap or send a monster and then add either a trap or a monster, and Lulu is the searcher and adder of the deck. Then we have Lao. So this one targets a monster and then sends a spell or trap, or targets a trap and then sends a monster or spell, and then it works as a monster reborn as well. And by doing the sending effect, they all special summon from the hand. Then we have 3 Lily. Lily is pretty much the double Foolish Burial. You can target a monster, then send a trap and a spell to the graveyard. Then we have Virtual World Gigi. So this one again targets a monster, they can send a spell or a trap, or if you're targeting a trap, sends a spell or a monster. Then in the end phase, it adds you a monster. So it's basically a slower version of Lulu. Then we're only running 2 Nian-Yans. I feel like with this card, you definitely want to run 2 because we are running Pot of Desires. This is the one that kind of gets you your banished monsters back to the deck. Then we have the hand traps. We have 3 Ash Blossom and 1 Ghost Ogre. So they are level 3s and they are also tuners. So it ends up coming up a lot in this deck. With the utility box extra deck that we do utilize, we definitely need tuners and level 3s. And with the Ghost Ogre, we also have 3 emergency teleports. So emergency teleport does work as an extender, getting you your psychic Virtual World monsters. Then for consistency, we have Pot of Desires and 1 Called by the Grave. So once you get your combo lines going through, there's really nothing you really care about losing. And again, you can use your Nian-Yan to get your banished monsters back into the deck as well. Then we have one of the other best cards, Virtual World City. You pretty much use it to get your Chuchi, which is your main trap card from the deck, face up on your side of the field. Then we have our other searcher, Quinlong. This is the one that banishes from the graveyard, and then you discard a card, and then you can add a card as well. So it is your searcher. With it being an older deck, having to discard does hurt, but you are utilizing a lot of draw power with your extra deck as well. Then we have Chuchi, which is your popper, can pretty much pop a card anytime on the field. So with Zanwu, you can banish it from the graveyard, and then it can special summon a monster. So basically is your in-deck monster reborn. Again, a lot of these cards want to be in the graveyard, which is why the Virtual World effects of using them as Foolish Burials work so well in this deck. Then we have 3 Solemn Strikes. With it being an older deck, the ceiling is a lot lower with these typical rogue decks. So having cards like Solemn Strike just makes the end board a lot better. As well with our extra deck, we typically want to go into Ultimate Azoken, which requires you setting a card to special summon from the extra deck. So then having trap cards like Solemn Strike and Infinite Impermanence is also good. Plus Infinite Impermanence is a hand trap. Then we could also run Skill Drain because a lot of our Virtual World monsters special summon from the hand. We don't really care about the on-field effects with them. So if we can use Skill Drain, we're definitely going to utilize it. And again, it does come up because the ceiling of this deck is pretty low. So having cards like Skill Drain definitely help you even the playing field. And you want as many unfair cards like this as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what happens if we draw Lulu. And then I'm going to go ahead and shuffle the deck and see what other 4 cards we can get. But definitely Lulu is your best starter in the deck. However, it does require another name. Every card does require another name or another Virtual World monster to bounce off of. Again, with the Foolish Burial effects, Lulu would need a monster on the field, or if we can get a spell or trap that can set itself face up on the field as well. Just gonna go ahead and shuffle the deck and see what other 4 cards we can get. So we got Lulu over here. We're gonna go ahead and draw Virtual World City, Emergency Teleport, Pot of Desires, and Skill Drain. Okay, so pretty decent hand actually. These are 2 of our best starters. Then we have emergency teleport, and then eventually pot of desires we can use. So we go ahead and start with emergency teleport, just to kind of see if it'll eat an ash or some form of hand trap. Let's just go ahead for the sake of the video showing you what the ceiling of this deck looks like. So you're gonna want to get Nian out from the deck. He is a psychic monster. So we want to add a monster. So we're gonna go ahead and use our virtual world city, which then can get us our Chuche placed face up on our field. So now we have a trap card because virtual world Lulu is going to target it, sending a spell, and then it can add a monster. If we targeted this, we would only be able to add a spell or trap. So definitely want to have the trap card out on the field. Shuffle the deck up again. So now we're going to go ahead and target Chuche. We're going to go ahead and send a spell card. So you typically want to send your Quinlong because it adds as a searcher. And then we're going to add a monster. So we can go ahead and add, our options are going to be Gigi, Lao Lao, and Lili. We already have Quinlong in the graveyard, so I feel like it's going to be one of these two. So we're going to go ahead and get Lao Lao. But let's go ahead and start digging into our deck anyways. So this deck also draws a lot with the extra deck, so I'm going to go ahead and shuffle the deck again. So we're going to go ahead and synchro these two off and go into our Stardust Charge Warrior, activate Stardust Charge Warrior to draw a card. We get GG, so it's good. We definitely always want to see names. If we don't draw hand traps, names are just as good as well. You also want to remember, so Nian, when he's in the graveyard and another virtual monster is special summoned, he can special summon himself. If a level 3 monster is normal or special summoned to your field while this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon it and it becomes a tuner. So you always want to remember that. So we like having it in the graveyard. We also have Quinlong in the graveyard as well to search another virtual world monster. We're just going to go ahead and keep that there though, because now we're going to go ahead and target Chuche, special summoning GG. And since we target a trap, we either send a monster or a spell. So we're just going to go ahead and send another Quinlong for the next turn just to have an extra one in the graveyard. So during the end of this turn, you could add one virtual monster from your graveyard to your hand. So you always want to remember that GG effect at the end of the turn. So now we have a level 6 and a level 3. Neither of these are tuners. So we can go ahead and target our GG, and now we can send a trap card. Let's go ahead and send, so this one special summons, and then we can also send the other Chuche, which can banish itself and modulate any of their levels, increasing them or decreasing them by 3. So we're gonna go ahead and send a Chuche to the graveyard, and then activate its other effect to special summon I guess we'll go ahead and special summon Lulu, which then gets our Nian. So we have 1, 2, 3 tuners on board. So let's do another draw card. We can also go into Coral Dragon. So I feel like we're gonna go ahead and do that. We can synchro those off, go into Coral Dragon. So now we can go ahead and go into Ultimate Azoken. We have 2 level 6s. Go ahead and go into Ultimate Azoken. Since we used Coral Dragon, we can go ahead and draw a card. That gets us Ash Blossom. Okay, so that's good. If we needed a normal summon Ash Blossom, we could always do that as well, since we have not utilized our normal summon. So now we have this, and we can go ahead and set our skill drain, activating our Ultimate Azoken, which then gets us our Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, which works as a negate and destroy, tuner, and a tuner. So now we need to fix that problem. We can go ahead and banish our Quinlong. Just go ahead and discard our Pot of Desires to add our Lili. So now Lili can go ahead and target our monster, send the third Quinlong, and we can send the Zanwu just to get out of the deck. We don't want to draw it, and if we needed to use it as a monster reborn, we can as well. So now I feel like we have different options we can go into. We can modulate the level of one of these and go into a level 6, or we can also go into Evolzer Lars if we want a XYZ play. I feel like we're just gonna do Shen Shen. Yeah, I think we should just do that. So from here, we can go ahead and utilize these two. Nian gets banished because we utilize his special summon from the graveyard effect. Go into Shen Shen. So now we have skill drain over here. We have a monster negate / destroy. We have the macro cosmos, so any card sent to the graveyard is banished instead. We have the pop with Chuche because we have 2 banished cards. Chuche says place 2 of your banished cards back into the deck and we can pop a card. And then we have Ash Blossom in hand. We do have the dead Lao Lao on the field. If we wanted to, we could go a little further because we still have Zanwu to banish itself to special summon. We could special summon a GG. So typically, I feel like if you want to play it safe, we want to end the board right here. Again, with the Macrocosmos, we have Skill Drain, we have the Pop, and we have the Monster Negate, as well as an Ash in hand. And Shen Shen are the 2 floodgates. So pretty much our opponent is pretty much not going to be able to do much unless they have like a Dark Ruler no more. But just to show you what happens if we extend a little further, we can go ahead and banish our Zanwu from the graveyard, discarding our Ash Blossom, and that is going to special summon GG. So GG gets placed on the board. Now we can go ahead and banish our Chuchi to make our Lao Lao's level 3. So it goes down 3 stars. So now we utilize these 2 and go into our Mud Dragon. Then we can utilize Mud Dragon and Ultimate Azoken to fuse into our Dark Dragoon. Okay, well, as of right now, Dragoon is not in a gate, but we have a Macrocosmos, we have Skill Drain, we have a Pop, we have Untargetable Dragoon, can't be destroyed as well, and then we have the Pop and Negate as well. Then during the end phase, remember, you always want to activate GG's effect. We're going to go ahead and grab us our Lulu back to our hand. So now Dragoon is also an Omni Negate. So we have an Omni Negate, Macrocosmos, Skill Drain, a Pop, and then a Pop and Negate as well. So as you can see, a very strong board, and we do get Lulu back in our hand. And then for our next turn, we have Quinlong in the graveyard where it can banish itself, and then we can add any other virtual world monster as well. In case we do use Dragoon's effect to discard and then negate, we'd be able to get another Lulu from the deck. So as you can see, a very powerful end board, very lengthy end board. Again, you are going to be playing solitaire when you're playing this deck. However, it is very fun, and then the toolbox of extra deck monsters is very cool to go into and very unique as well because it utilizes so many cards that you can either get you draw power or just various different forms of negate. But I think that's all I got for you guys today, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.